Hello and welcome to Random Things. This is Ty, and my X Premium has 3,000 miles on it now, so it's time to do a little maintenance. Now, I did a previous video on 1,500 mile maintenance, and the 3,000 mile maintenance is basically the same from the standpoint that the mid-drive bikes are kind of hard on the chain and the freewheel compared to the hub drives. Like if you have the XP 3.0, you don't really have this issue because all the torque is in the hub motor and then it's transferred to the spokes. On the mid-drive, the power is transferred to the chain, then to the freewheel. So because of that, you can actually get chain stretch on your chain, and especially if you don't shift. When you are at a dead stop, you're supposed to be in first gear and then shift your way up to say 6th or 7th gear to go to top speed. If you just always start in 5th, 6th, or 7th gear, it puts a lot of stress on the chain and it puts a lot of stress on the freewheel. And over time, as the chain stretches, it will also kind of cut the freewheel. And so this is what it's going to feel like is when you're pedaling really hard, it's going to feel like the chain is skipping, and it kind of is skipping on the freewheel. And so after a while, you do have to change the freewheel and the chain. Now the great news is Lectric has fantastic customer service. And so I reached out to Lectric and I showed them the chain stretch. So you can get this little tool from Part Tools that shows like if your chain is stretched. And I showed them that my chain is stretched, and I asked them if it's possible, if it's covered under warranty, and they can send me a new chain and freewheel because it kind of damaged the freewheel. I actually didn't expect it, but again, Lectric sent me a new chain and a new freewheel. Now that's fantastic customer service. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just saying I have their bike, I love their bike, and I love their customer service. Okay, and so if you can't get it under warranty, or if you don't have it in stock and you really want to get out and ride, you can probably find the freewheel and chain on Amazon. The one thing that I want to note is the chains on Amazon are typically 116 links, but the width on the distance on the Lectric XPremium is actually longer than a standard bike. So this is actually a 126 link chain, and so you would have to go on Amazon and buy a chain that's at least 126 links, and then you would have to just break the links to the link size that you need and then put it on, because the 116 is too short. Now, even though you can get it for a great price, it ain't gonna work. Okay, so the other thing I need to do is, after 3,000 miles, actually more like another 1,500 miles, my tire's a little worn. And I actually ran over something and punctured the tire. Luckily, I have tennis armor inside my tire, and then I also have the slime that's in the tubes. So I didn't have a flat. I just one day noticed it was something like a nail in my tire, and I pulled out this big piece of stick, and there was a hole in the actual rubber. So, it's time to change the tire. But this time, I actually went and found kind of a different tire from some of the blog groups that talk about electrics. And this tire seems to have beefier treads. It's almost like a motorcycle tire. So I'm going to put this tire on it and see how this works. And that hopefully will get me at least 1,500 miles, hopefully in the 3,000 miles on those treads. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick time lapse on me doing all this work, and then I'll circle back at the end. So I'll talk to you again at the end. To remove the bolt for the tire, it's a number 15 socket. Okay, so real quickly, you need a tool to remove the freewheel. Now, Part Tools is kind of the standard in terms of tools, but the problem is this freewheel is pretty deep and it actually slips a little bit. And so the actual Amazon tool is actually a little deeper, and it allows me to actually get in there a little bit better and actually remove the freewheel better. So I'll put a link in the description box below for this particular freewheel removal tool, as opposed to the Park Tool one. The freewheel is standard thread, meaning it's lefty-loosey. I did have to use a cheater bar because it was kind of stuck. Now that we replaced the freewheel, it's time to remove the tire. First bleed out the air, then you can remove the tire. Note that I have a Canis insert, that's the pink insert. Also, the yellow tape around the rim, double check the yellow tape to make sure that it is covering all the spokes, because if it's not, it can actually damage the inner tube from the underside. When you're putting on the tire you will find a mark that indicates the rotation. You want to make sure that you put the tire on in accordance to the rotation the tire needs to rotate. When you inflate the tire, I recommend going in 5-town steps. That way, as you inflate, you rotate the tire to make sure that the bead is set in the wheel or the rim, and then that way you don't have the inner tube popping out the side, and that your wheel is set correctly. To remove the chain, you want to find the link that's the master link, which is a link that can be removed. Use the link removal tool to pop it, kind of snap it together, and then it will release the link and the chain apart. And now I took the existing chain and then compared it to the new chain, and what I had to do was I had to remove 3 links from the new chain. The chain was 126 links, so I had to remove 3. So, because the old chain was 123, so I want to match the same chain link distance. Whew. There you have it. We changed the freewheel, we changed the chain and resized it, we changed the tire, and we adjusted the derailleur to make sure everything's riding okay, and all that took about an hour and a half. Now, I've done quite a bit of these chain adjustments and wheel changes on bicycles. Not quite a bit, maybe like 5 or 6. So I kind of have a little bit of familiarity. If this is your first time, don't sweat it. Take your time. It shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 hours. Just take pictures of what you take off if you've never done it before, so that you remember the sequence, so that you can put it back together in that same sequence. Now that we have the new tire and chain freewheel on, hopefully I can get another 1,500 miles at least before I have to do any major maintenance to the bike. Now, I did not change the front wheel because I still had quite a bit of tread left. I think I'd get another 1,500 miles before I have to change the front wheel. The rear wheel is really where I was getting a lot of the wear. And you can kind of see the wheel. Not too bad, but because I have that hole, I needed to change it. In terms of extending the life of the freewheel and the chain, there are really 2 key factors. One is shifting. And so when you're riding this bike, just like you drive a manual shift transmission car, for those that still remember how to do that, when you come to a stop, you want to put the bike into 2nd gear or 1st gear, just like a car. And when you start up, you go through 1st, 2nd, and you upshift down to your desired gear for the speed that you want to travel at. So same thing with the bike. You don't want to start out at 6th gear. You want to put the bike into 2nd gear, maybe 1st. I usually just do 2nd or 3rd gear, and that's good enough because mostly I ride on flat land. And then I will just upshift up to 4th, 5th, or 6th, sometimes 7. But my sweet spot really is pedal assist mode 3 on 4th gear or pedal assist mode 4 on 5th gear, and that'll get me 18, 22 mile an hour type of riding with my heart rate at 120 and 130 beats per minute. So that's really quite a bit of exercise I can get riding in that mode. The other thing to actually extend the life of the chain and freewheel is to regularly put on lubricant. And I do this every, 50 miles or so, or if I'm riding my bike every week or every day of the week because I'm riding back and forth on work, I'll do it like every 3 days or so. And you just put some on the chain, run it through, put some on the chain, and then wipe off the excess, and that's it. and that will really help extend the life of your chain. And you will really notice it too when you're pedaling. You're not going to get that scratchy sound, and that shifting will just sound so much smoother. And so please make sure to lubricate your chain. This is the one. Finish Line is the lube I use, but you can use any kind of chain lubricant that you find on Amazon. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video and hope it was helpful. If it was, please hit the like and share button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. That would really help me out. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next random video.